Yeah, hatred and envy, don't let it tempt me. I move defensive. Evil offends me, I yell repentance. We come from trenches. I'm in the secret place of the Most High. You can't offend me. Hamashiach built many mansions. That's where my rent be. Father, help me overcome. People who I used to look up to, they turning foes for none. Father, you my strength and you my courage. I feel bold for some. I wanna feel your spirit on my body like it's clothes or something. Put my vision in your one direction like it's froze or something. I can feel the hatred in their heart is like I owe them some. Yeah, they full of nerves like my hands or my toes or something. No nervous system, but you know I feel it like I'm holding some. Stay in my lane. Anyway, I spin it like I bowl or something. As if I need them for my elevation, like they rope or something. Anyways, I'm too high up your spirit like I'm rolling some. Son of the Most, I pay my dues forever, owe you one. Yeah. If it wasn't for your presence, I would have no peace, believe it. See, the Bible is my weapon, I don't have no beef, I'm vegan. Yeah, your highness, you a blessing, you a masterpiece, I mean it. And I'm fighting for your presence, full of passion, cause I need it. Father, will we make it in? Once we face the end, I'll be looking for your grace within. I've been studying through Corinthians and Galatians. I done found the faith within. The end is so close, you can physically see it. How real is this realm if you can spiritually live it? America so wicked, it's like living in Egypt. And our souls not like them, we out here living with demons. They got Jacob in their blood, but they spiritually heathens. I guess we ain't learned nothing from the Garden of Eden. I guess the Father who in heaven made us all for no reason. I guess if you disrespect them, you a part of the reason. They don't understand what I'm saying, it's a lot. People from my past feeling salty, I'm like, lot. They thinking they can take me up my path, I'm like, nah. My B is a temple of the Most High and it's locked. Tell me what am I to do if they after me? I'm like T, I'm not after you, alphabet. Got me wondering what Christ would do, live passively or confront what I'm. Too much hatred in our hearts with the love of the Bible. Our whole nation grew apart, but we claim we united. Ain't no embracing with our arms, but we hugging a rifle. I'm impatient with these stars, let me wait for revival. Mashiach, we need you.
Got a good lesson tonight. So, go deep tonight, guys. Hope y'all in the mood. Welcome to the Hebrew state of being. I am your humble servant and host for tonight. I am Kyle. In the building, I got my rib, my butter pecan, Miss Artist 28. Yes, young in our Bella song, and he is gone by his pops this weekend. So we are solo dolo in the building. And yes. So we are getting this lesson together for you guys tonight. Let's get this. All right, there we go. So man, we have a lot is going on in the world, as everybody knows. We did our response to all that is happening on our last show. So please check that video out if you are interested in my perspective on all that has happened in these last couple of days. As this world is in an uproar because of the roosters coming home in this violent nation. Which brought me to our lesson tonight. There's a lot of misconception, lies, deliberate psyops that are and have been done since the start of this nation. But we are gonna kind of deal with that, right? So the start of this nation was supposed to be about freedom, right? That's what it was about. Freedom. Freedom from tyranny, freedom from kings, right? They were from another land that had a king. And they were over here working as indentured servants, some as slaves. And they decided they did not want to be a part of that kingdom. That's very important for tonight's lesson. Dumb is going to be an important word for us. They did not want to be a part of the European kingdom. They wanted freedom. Listen to the way I'm dealing with these words tonight, because this is what our lesson is about. Kingdom and freedom. The title of our lesson is Freedom Ain't Free, Anarchy Ain't Covenant. So the people that supposedly are holding up what we call freedom in this nation left the kingdom that they were under, so they would not have to be under a king. And in this new dominion, they wanted to have liberty and freedom. Got a president as a leader, but not a king. 3 branches of government to make sure that there is equality for man. The opposite of what they felt they were receiving over in Europe with the kingdom, which is presently represented by King Charles. So they decide to take the sovereignty of a nation of people that were already here, the Iroquois Federation, the Cherokee Federation, Lakota Federation, the Comanches, the Apaches, the Caliphs, all the way to the West Coast. They decided to take, I see Gwen is in the building, these people that were leaving this kingdom decided to take over this dominion through lies, through treachery, through backstabbing, through the Moors, through many ways, but they were going to build their freedom nation on top of a people that was already here. Now, that nation that they want to call freedom, taking it from some other people, not honoring the treaties, then killing them, all in the name of manifest destiny and the trail of tears, that they built this so-called nation of freedom. But the laws said that certain people of this land were only 2/3 of a man. Freedom was for a Caucasian male. No one else was this freedom written for. So this nation from its beginning was never a place of freedom for melanated people that were considered 2/3 of a man. Even though it was their nation, the people that were here were melanated. Some of them participated with the Europeans and had slaves and was part of the treachery of this place, and which is really why this place was able to be taken over. So understanding that when we get into our lesson tonight, that this nation is only here because of treaties it no longer honors with the inhabitants that was originally here, that was melanated, all to build what they called freedom, but then turn around in their laws and said melanated people were 2/3 when they got to their manifest destiny, with their given the authority to do so by the Vatican Church. So when we are talking in this nation, us as people that are not Caucasian males, including women, when you are talking about you are free, you're not. You think you are, but you are not. you are especially not free in the manner that the Most High intended man to be free. That is what we're going to deal with Scripture. Because freedom ain't free and anarchy ain't covenant. What they have told you is freedom, or the concept of liberty, is truly anarchy. It's not freedom, because the Most High says that the law is freedom. I see Graylin in the building. The Most High says that the law is freedom. In this land, they tell you that freedom is liberty, which is anarchy. It means against law, away from law, is what they consider liberty, when initially their liberty was from a kingdom. They consider liberty and they consider freedom without law. For us, as children of the Creator, who has the law of nature and also has the 10 Commandments for man, we understand that a life of righteousness, a fulfillment life, a life that we will call free, is under his law. I'm going to prove all of this out now. I'm going to give you scripture. I'm going to even go into Paleo Hebrew writing. I'm going to give you a chart. I'm going to show you how it flipped. If you just give me a chance. So we're going to, first, we have to blow the shofar before we get into our scripture. But we're going to start with that. And then I'm going to break off into our information for tonight. So as we stand to the east, why are we standing to the east? Because that is where the sun comes out every day, and that's where the windows of heaven are open, and we are sending our prayers there. So what prayer are we sending there? We are praying to the Most High that the information that you come here and you're going to hear tonight, that he has put into his books, is the answer that you have for your life or for what you were going through in this particular moment. And he's brought you here to get that answer. And then we pray that once you accept that answer from these words, not mine, from these words, then we pray that the Most High levels you up that moment instantly. So let's stand to the east and blow this shofar so we can get into this lesson. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. All right, let's get it going. All right. So Ezekiel is where we're going to start this before I flip back into the, actually, we're going to start in Jubilees, excuse me, not Ezekiel. Yeah, we're going far back. I know Jubilees is not a book that most of you may be familiar with if you are not into scripture. You may only know of the New Testament. The Jubilees in Book of Yasher are books that they kicked out, that they believe were not of the Most High, or well, of their Jesus, not of the Most High, but of their Jesus for the New Testament. So we're going to Jubilees chapter 50. And we're going to go verse 1 through 5. So understanding that Jubilees is like a synopsis of everything from the beginning to the end, from the scripture of the Old Testament, the Torah and the Tanakh, all wrapped up to end time, kind of was end times. So here in chapter 50, and Jubilees only has 50 chapters in it, it is kind of a wrap up that's going on. So, but we need it for our understanding of freedom, right? And the law, and the fact that there was a law before Moshe, that there was a way in which the Most High had us live in righteousness before it was written down in the law. So let's go. Jubilees chapter 50, verse 1. And this Torah I made known to you the days of the Sabbath in the desert of Sinai, which is between Elam and Sinai. And I told you of the Sabbath, of the Sabbath, of the land of Mount Sinai. And I told you of the Jubilee years in the Sabbath of years. But the year, therefore, have I not told you till ye enter the land which ye are to possess. So the Most High is explaining to them how he calculates time. You may not have heard this before because you got Gregorian calendar, Julian calendars, and so many others. But the Most High's calendar for us, before all of that European involvement, was through the Jubilees and the Sabbaths. So Jubilees were every 50 years, right? I believe 49 or the 50th year. It's 7 Sabbaths, which Sabbath is 7, so 7 years. It's 7 times 7 is 49. So that's what will give you 49. Then the 50th year would be the Jubilee, right? So, and it says on the third, and the land also shall guard its Sabbath while they dwell upon it, and they shall know the Jubilee year. So this, the Most High is saying that when I gave you the law, when you were in the desert, before I let you get into the promised land, I gave you the law of the land, which was also a timing for you to understand how to cohabitate with the land, and that the land itself would follow the Sabbath, which you are supposed to be following through your Jubilees. See, I'm trying to explain to you that there's laws before we got the 10 Commandments, and there was understanding that the earth had from the beginning of its inception. That's why I said the earth in its inception. Understand that the Most High is saying that when you go into the land to possess it, you will, on the 7th year, give rest to the land. Just like you rest every 7th day, you will give rest to the land every 7th year, meaning that you will not till the land, you will not farm the land, you will not harvest the land. And then the Most High says the land is going to celebrate the Sabbath with you, meaning that it will increase its produce for you once you give it a year of rest. I see Ronald in the building. So Book of Jubilees, we're reading verses 1 through 5. The Most High says in verse 2, and I told you on the Sabbath, on the land of Mount Sinai, and I told you of the Jubilee years in the Sabbath of years. But the year thereof have I not told you till ye enter the land which ye are to possess. And the land also shall guard its Sabbath while they dwell upon it, and they shall know the Jubilee year. Right? Wherefore I have ordained for you the year, weeks, and the years in the Jubilees. There are 49 Jubilees from the days of Adam until this day. So the Most High is telling you, as these other people tried to figure out time, from the time that Adam was given birth, that up until the time of Moses was 49 Jubilees. And we said, what are Jubilees? 50-year anniversaries. The Sabbaths are 7. You multiply 7 times 7, that's 49, makes 49 years. So they had 7 Sabbath years. And then the 50th year is that. And he's saying that they were, and it said, and there are 49 Jubilees from the days of Adam until this day. So this was 49 times 49 years. And that's how many years it was from Adam until the time that they got this in Sinai when they were walking through the wilderness. Before they went into the land to possess it, it happened to be on the Most High's calendar, part of his Jubilees. I hope y'all understand it. We're going deep tonight. This may not be for everybody, but understand freedom ain't free, and anarchy ain't the covenant. The covenant is wrapped around Jubilees, and the covenant is wrapped around his Sabbaths, his time, his law, and how things roll. So we'll continue. It says, from Adam until this day, and 1 week and 2 years, and there are yet 40 years to come for learning the commandments of the Most High. It says still 40 years to come until they pass over into the land of Canaan, crossing the Jordan to the west. So this is before the 40 years. They're giving you a time stamp of the time that they got kicked out, where they left, right? And that they left out of Egypt and was in the wilderness. They said it was a Jubilee year, 49 years, 49 Jubilees up until that point. And it was not only 49 Jubilees, but it was 1 week and 2 years. So 49 Jubilees, 1 week and 2 years, right when they were going into their 40 years of walking in the wilderness. So the Most High has given us time like we don't know the beginning of the Most High's calendar in making us. But in the New Testament and other things, they tell you that don't worry about these things. And they tell you don't worry about the law. And that's why we are so lost in this world. That's why when we see certain things, we don't know how to react. We don't know how to compartmentalize them. We don't know where to place these things. Tonight, I'm expressing to you that the concept that they gave you of freedom is really anarchy. And the real freedom in our Creator is through his law. Freedom is not the absence of law. It's the absence of man's law, not the Creator's. And it says, learning from the commandments of the Most High until they pass over the land into Canaan, crossing the Jordan to the west. Verse 5. And the Jubilees shall pass by until Yasharallah is cleansed from all guilt of fornication and uncleanliness and pollution and sin and error, and dwells with confidence in all the land. And there shall be no more a Satan or an evil one, and the land shall be clean from that time forevermore. And that's a lot, right? That's just 5 verses in chapter 50 of Jubilees, where the Most High is telling you, I know what you think the cycle of the world is on, but I have an entirely different cycle than the world. Not only do I have a different cycle, but I have a calculation of time different from the entire world. What you're in 6 days of this week, before you go into the 7th day of Sabbath with me, is a total contradiction of the way I want you to live, a total contradiction in the way that I have created things, a total contradiction in getting you to a place that you actually feel like you're free, where you can breathe, where you don't have stress, when you don't feel like there's an albatross upon your neck. The Most High says, I have that for you. But 6 days out the week, you have been indoctrinated, you are oppressed, and you are caught up in a system. That's why I asked you on the Sabbath. That's why I give you a Sabbath, to come on the 7th day to break away from all that, to see what it can be with me, to see the joy of peace, of not having stress, not having aggravation, not having the world at you, not being inside the world, not feeling none of the world's emotions, but only feeling the words and the wisdom that I impart upon you. Most High has made his time according to his peaceful day. We are in a cycle and a system of oppression. Some would even say a spell of oppression. Let's go to Genesis We're going to get to Yasha back. In a second, we're going to Genesis. Chapter 11, verse 4 through 9. Genesis chapter 11, verse 4 through 9. Verse 4 reads, "And they said, Come, let us build a city and a tower with its top in the sky to make a name for ourselves, else we shall be scattered all over the world." The Most High came down and took a look at the city and the tower that man had built. And the Most High said, "If as one people with one language for all, this is how they have begun to act." Now, what the Most High is saying there, because we understand the Tower of Babel gives way to Nebuchadnezzar, right? It gives way to Sargon, it eventually to Moloch. We must understand that when they decided to make this Tower of Babel, that they were attempting to go to war with the Most High so that there would never be a flood again. So when the Most High says, if they all are speaking the same language, bringing about their intellect from everywhere, AI, if they are able to do this and they're what they choose to do with this collective knowledge is to come and attack me, their creator, in thinking that they would be free. Oh, come on now. Are we following the theme tonight? Freedom ain't free and anarchy ain't covenant. We have discussed the Jubilees, the Most High's time frame. We understand that we walked in the wilderness 40 years. Moshe instilled the law, and the Most High said, yet and still once we get into the land, that we still were going to go through sin, error, and all these different things, and that we would be in this cycle of this oppression until his children, Judah, was cleansed from all its sins, and then the kingdom would come, the land would be clear, and the land will forevermore be cleansed. There will be no more sin upon it. I told you the book of Jubilees is a synopsis. It's from the beginning to the end. So it speaks in that manner. So we understand that from Jubilees, and then we hopped into Genesis, and Genesis is telling us about the Tower of Babel, explaining that when man had this opportunity to speak together and have this collective knowledge, this present day AI, we talk in the full cycle, that the Most High destroyed them because their collective wasn't to help man or to make life for man better. No, it was to kill their creator so that he wouldn't flood the world and stop them from doing whatever debauchery, whatever nastiness, whatever lawlessness they wanted to do. So Most High says, then nothing that they may purpose to do will be out of their reach. Let us then go down and confound their speech there, so that they shall not understand one another's speech. Thus the Most High scattered them from there over the face of the whole earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it is called Babel, because there the Most High confounded the speech of the whole earth. But he allowed us, the Lakushan, that's the original language, which we know as Paleo-Hebrew, to be still done among Shem, passed down to Enoch, Methuselah. It says, the speech of the whole earth. And from there, the Most High scattered them over the face of the whole earth. This is the line of Shem, verse 10. This is the line of Shem. Shem was 2 years old when he begat Ashvad, and Ashvad became the Chaldeans, which is where the Most High took Abraham out of and said that he would have many nations. So obviously this is way before Moshe, way before walking in the wilderness, way before the Most High gave us the Torah and the 10 Commandments. Understand where I'm coming from? Freedom was given to Adam and Eve, but yet Adam and Eve still was under the law of the Most High. So much so, that's why the snake had to come in and deceive, right? They said he's the craftiest in the garden. So he came in and deceived them and told them that they had the opportunity to be a God and know good and evil. But the fact of the matter is, they already knew good because they were walking with the Most High, and the Most High had given them a law for them not to eat the apple, and they decided to be lawless because the snake convinced them that lawlessness was freedom. Convinced them that lawlessness was freedom. The snake, to this day, till this day. Let's go to Leviticus 25. Leviticus 25, verse 8 through 13. As we are coming upon the Feast of Trumpets on September 2nd, this speaks to that. It says, you shall count off 7 weeks of years, 7 times 7 years. 7 times 7 years, 49 years. So that the period of 7 weeks of years gives you a total of 49 years. Then you shall sound the horn loud in the 7th month, which we're coming into, on the 10th day of that month. That's the Feast of Trumpets. From this, we have created the Feast of Trumpets. And then from there, the Day of Atonement. You shall have the horn sounded throughout your land. And you shall hallow the 50th year. Yeah, the house shall hallow the 50th year, which is the Jubilee. So in the 49th year, you're signaling we're here, trumpet, Feast of Trumpet, atonement. Next year, we're going into the Jubilee. You shall proclaim release throughout the land. That's freedom and all its inhabitants. So release is freedom under the law of the Most High. So the Most High did not allow us to be slaves perpetually, as this world has told you that freedom was no law, was anarchy. That's what they tell you. And don't let nobody get up here and talk about their patriot and say, well, it's the Constitution is our law of freedom here in America. That's what it is to be a patriot. That's what we're fighting for, the Constitution. My guy, there is judicial law, which is where the Constitution goes. Then there's spiritual law. Then there's divine law. Spiritual law is where your laws of nature is. And then you have divine law, which is the Most High over all things. Your Constitution was supposedly built off of the 10 Commandments, even though your Judeo-Christian religion says that the law is done away with and all you need is faith. That's why this land is a lie. because everything about its foundation is a contradiction. The Most High, there is no void in his word. There is no what ifs. There's no philosophy. Freedom is in following the Most High's law, the divine law, the law that supersedes the law of the land, law of nature, law of governments, all of the above. The Most High's law is the only law in which there is salvation and freedom. Without law of the Most High, then you are an adversary to the Most High. You are an anarchist. We're going down to verse 13. It says, and you shall hallow the 50th year. You shall proclaim release throughout the land for all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you. Each of you shall return to his holding, and each of you shall return to his family. So the Most High is telling you that on the 50th in the Jubilee year, whenever you have a Jubilee year, that all bets, all debts, all whatever is free. You go back to the land and to your people. And it says, the 50th year shall be a jubilee for you. You shall not sow, neither shall you reap the aftergrowth or harvest the untrimmed vines, for it is jubilee. It shall be holy to you. You may only eat the growth direct from the field. Verse 13, in this year of Jubilee, each of you shall turn to his holding. When you shall turn to your holding. So there has been a law of freedom and release to debt. The Most High never intended for us to be in a perpetual working state. The Most High never intended for us to be slaves to anyone, even if we fall upon bad times, even if we need to be somebody else's apprentice to learn how to do something better for ourselves. The Most High has set these systems up. But when Europeans and when I say Europeans, I'm not just talking Caucasians. Please believe, we are talking adversaries of all sorts. We're talking fallen angels mated with all races and creeds. And their seeds are the ones that are running this world, which is why the Most High said, because y'all have intermingled, y'all are wheat from tares, and I got to separate at the end. And when he does, as it says here, the rest in the Jubilee, that the land is going to be at rest forevermore. His kingdom will be here. Understand, freedom ain't free, and anarchy ain't the covenant. The law of the Most High is where we find our freedom, within the laws of these nations. Let's go to this last one, and then we go into our display. Judges. We're going to go to Judges. Judges chapter 21. Verse 23 through 25. See, I want to show how they went off, right? So, as we went through this wilderness and we got in and got our own kingdom, we got David. David died, and we got Solomon, and Solomon was treacherous. He was evil. Solomon put on a ring to control demons, and yet he was controlled by those demons. Solomon married all these foreign women and built temples for them. He even built temples for foreign gods on the same place that he built the temple for the Most High. So our nation went back crazy. The Most High allowed for us to be separated with Jeroboam and Jeroboam. Jeroboam taking the northern tribe north and separating from Benjamin and Judah. Then when they separated, they went to war against each other. Right before the Most High took the northern tribes into captivity into Assyria. So when I read this Judges, to explain to you guys how we have gone so far from our righteousness and our royalty, we don't understand how many things have happened to our bloodline. And it's very important for us to understand that we belong to this bloodline when I get into this next part. But I want you to know, just for the tribe of Benjamin, some say that the tribe of Benjamin is in Jamaica. I think they could be. But you have to understand that tribe of Benjamin, if they are that, then they were actually in Ireland, because that's where the Jamaicans were originally before they got shipped down there by the European Cromwell and those guys. Now, they say the Tuatha De Danann was there in Ireland, and that was the tribe of Dan, so to speak. But I digress. The tribe of Benjamin, this is what happened to them, right? Because they went at war with the northern tribes, and the northern tribes wiped them out. They left a little bit of men left. So the northern tribes came together and said, well, you know, we understand that we are family. Even though we went to war, we all have to come up to mitzvah, right? Which was Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? And that every man had to show up for that. And even though they were fighting, they would still go and meet for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. But at the Feast of Unleavened Bread, they took the anger out of their heart that they was having for Benjamin and realized what they had done to Benjamin. I really want y'all to understand this. I hope y'all catch the totality that through our feast days, whether we're fighting each other back and forth through our feast days and we honoring the Most High, we stop fighting to honor the Most High's days. That's what sometimes brings peace. Sometimes the only thing that brings peace is not man understanding man, but the fact that we got love for our Creator and we know that we're not supposed to be fighting each other. So in this feast of mitzvah, the unleavened bread, when it says that we are supposed to show up, Benjamin tribe didn't show. So the northern tribes said, damn, this is all thing that we have done to them. They need to have wives. So a little crazy, the northern tribe decided to kidnap women from another tribe and then put them in this other place. And then they sent Benjamin to go to that place and tell them, go ahead and get you some wives. I'm going to read from verse 19, Judges chapter 21. They said, the annual feast of the Most High is now being held at Shiloh. It lies north of Bethel, east of the highway that runs from Bethel to Shechem, and south of Lebanon. So they instructed the Benjamites as follows: go and lie in wait in the vineyards. As soon as you see the girls of Shiloh come out to join in the dances, come out from the vineyards. Let each of you seize a wife from among the girls of Shiloh and be off for the land of Benjamin. And if their fathers or brothers come to us to complain, we shall say to them, be generous to them for our sake. We could not provide any of them with a wife on account of the war. And Brother Yohana sees in the building. I really want y'all to understand what just happened, right? The northern tribes went and stole wives, or stole women that were not married and women that were not been with men. They stole women that had not been carnal with men. They went in, wiped that tribe, and they took their women, and then they put the women in this place. And they told Benjamin, because we have been warring with you, Benjamin, and we've killed most of your men, but we know you have to continue to fight. Here's some women for you. When they come out, take them. And if their fathers or brothers complain, we will tell them to have mercy and be generous on you guys on their behalf because they killed our brothers. I mean, you got to see how, if you think today's world is crazy, baby, you got to hop in these scriptures. You will be able to look at this world and say, oh, I've seen this before. Yeah. And sometimes when I want to give people examples, I can't go to Judges 21. But if you're a student and you get into the scripture, you know these stories. So they tell him in verse 23, the Benjamites did so. They took to wife from the dancers whom they carried off, as many as themselves numbered. Then they went back to their own territory and rebuilt their towns and settled in them. Thereupon the Israelites dispersed, each to his own tribe and clan. Everyone departed from his own territory. In those days, there was no king in Yasharallah. Everyone did as he pleased. When man does as he pleases, everything gets confused because man isn't following a righteous law. He's following his urges and his desires. I see Michael in the building. He's following his urges and his desires. If a man doesn't have rules and stick by them rules, which is called discipline, then nothing he puts his hand to is going to work. It will not. It is the law of the land. I told you there was the judicial law, the supernatural law, and the divine law. That falls in the supernatural law. Nothing that you do, if you aren't disciplined enough to follow the rule of the thing that it takes to make it happen, a budget, whatever it may be, you're not going to do it. You're never going to amass the things that you need to amass to be successful. They've given you this concept of needing freedom as no rules. That's anarchy. With the Most High, freedom is a part of the covenant. It's a bond. And such a beautiful one. But let's show you how these people have contorted these things, right? I'm going to share the screen for you guys. All right, I'm going to flip the screen for you guys. I need y'all to see this. All right. So for future reference, right? My people on Facebook, I really want y'all to be able to freeze these things because go back for understanding. So this is a little AI help here. So that part. I'll tell you this thing right here. This little sidebar. I don't like. So freedom. As you see right there, it says freedom equals freedom, right? It says in English, this applies liberty, exemption, or release from bondage, but it's often abstract and detached from covenant. That's the word free. The word dom, because freedom is two words coming together. This suffix is where things get interesting. In English, dom comes from Old English dom, meaning jurisdiction, authority, or condition, as in kingdom, wisdom, or martyrdom. It applies a realm or domain governed by a specific law or principle. So when you're talking about the word itself of freedom, it does not mean without law. In fact, it means freedom within that law. Come on, where's the bottom? So it says, that's because this thing is on delay. Oh, wow, God. Yeah, they want to make it hard for me to use this information. That's okay. We're going to work through it. Oh, there. We got me all the way back to freedom to the top, right? So it says here, poetic insight. So when we say freedom via law, right? Freedom via law. We're not talking about escape. We're talking about alignment. Freedom isn't the absence of restraint. It is the presence of righteous boundaries that protect covenant identity. Freedom equals free release. Free equals release. Dom is domain, which is the law and blood. Domain of law and blood in Paleo Hebrew terms. Freedom covered by blood, walking in judgment, dwelling in the way, not in the religion, but dwelling in the way of the Most High. So alignment is what we're talking about, right? Make sure that you guys can see that. So right here we got Paleo Hebrew roots of Dam. So let's explore the Paleo Hebrew lens. While Dam isn't standard Hebrew word, it echoes several roots that carry jurisdiction, blood, and authority, right? So Dam means blood. So D-O-M, the O would come in with the European. In our time, it would have been Dam and would have meant blood. So your freedom or your blood, the freedom of your blood would have been through your covenant of the blood with the Most High, not the, some would say that somebody's blood sacrifice. So it says symbolically, see how far that thing went? I did not want it to go that far. So let's just go with this part. Summary. The Dam in freedom isn't just a suffix. It's a domain covenant built on blood, Dam, Hebrew word, the price of liberty, right? Because freedom's not free. Judgment, the structure of righteousness, authority, Shem, us, the banner we walk under, kingdom, Melchut, the realm of lawful freedom. See, we even say lawful freedom, and in your mind that sounds like an oxymoron. But no, lawful freedom. And the way, Darak, is the path we walk in obedience, right? So what are we dealing with? What I'm trying to explain is that everything in this world is backwards, or as my sister would say, upside down. They give you a concept of freedom, but their concept of freedom is actually anarchy. True freedom is in the law of the Most High. But you know that it is a belief in something of faith, and that the law is done away with. All you need is faith. No, it's the opposite. And we're going through the words to go through it right here, right? Oh, come on, don't do that. Come on, let me get to my chart. All right, stop. All right. So judgment. So in Paleo Hebrew, right, Dam is before that, right? And it says in Torah, freedom always tried to sacrifice and covering, not lawlessness. So that's Dam for the blood and judgment. So now we have din, which is the other one is judgment, which is the law. Paleo, dalit, is the D word. Yod, which is the handwork. And sun, a nun is a knee, right? So that's going from here to here to here. So symbolically, door to life through working of judgment. So our life becomes better when we are dealing with the Most High's judgment, understanding the Most High is judging us. And it says, then is the structure that makes freedom sustainable. Without righteous judgment, freedom becomes chaos. Oh, there it is. So without righteous judgment, freedom becomes chaos. We're going all the way back to Paleo Hebrew. Even though you see a couple of little in the law right there, you'll see those doggone Yiddish markings in there. This is the best I could get the AI to do what I needed to do to break down this word freedom from the word free and from dam, from the beginning of Paleo Hebrew, from the first definitions that we have from our people. So that's so we already went and explained, direct path means the way, while not phonetically dam, it's conceptually linked. True freedom is walking in the way, the path of Torah. So as we read already with the poetic insight that it was about alignment. All right, stop right there. All right. Paleo Hebrew roots of dam. We're talking about freedom and understanding that kingdom and freedom, that this word, this suffix or this prefix rather, suffix, the ending, right, of dam goes back all the way to ancient time, right? So authority and blood. So blood is what gave you authority in ancient days. What a concept. So dam, blood, and paleo, so that's the root word. The paleo letter is mem, like waters, right? Dalit. So you see the actual Paleo Hebrew on the left right there is mem, and then mem plus dalit, which is the triangle, right? So mem is the water looking sign, and then dalit, and then you have water and door to life through blood. So door to life through blood, chaos. So the prophetic insight, blood is covenant. Freedom requires covenanting. No liberty without sacrifice. Doesn't that sound so familiar? No liberty without sacrifice. But they have changed that sacrifice into your blood being shed for their wealth, when this is supposed to only shed blood for the Most High's law. So to go at that then is judgment, right? Dalit and the yod. Door and hand, the work. Seed of life. Door is life through the working of judgment, which means righteous judgment creates lawful freedom. Torah is structure, not restriction. Torah is structure, not restriction. Shem, the line that we come from, right? The name, authority. So when they say you can't be anti-Semitic, they're trying to say anti-Shemitic, but they're not Shemitic. We are the Shemitic people. We come from the Levant. We were there before them. So, you moved too far. You come on, do it to me. Come on. All right, Shem. So Shem, authority, name, blood, right? It's the blood of Shem, because I already told you that blood was the authority, right? So blood of Shem, Mem, Shem, right? So and it goes, teeth consume water, consume flow, or marked authority. True freedom is under a name, a banner of covenant identity. Our freedom is under the covenant banner. That's our identity. Who we are, we're covenant keepers under the Most High kingdom, right? What is kingdom? Is Melkut in Paleo Hebrew, and that is the limit, the mem, the kaf, and the tav, right? Which is water, staff, palm, mark from the pictograph meaning, right? So what a picture would mean: a door, water, chaos. A door and a hand means seeds and life. Teeth means, and water means to consume. And water and a staff, if it's a picture with a palm, and a mark is flowing authority marked by covenant. When they tell you they find all these handwritings on the wall or these symbols and we don't know what they mean, or they know these symbols have meant this from the beginning of time. So as kingdom is water, staff, a palm, and the mark, freedom exists within a kingdom, dominion under righteous rule. So we're still under a rule, right? So freedom is never anarchy. Freedom is covenant and the rule with the Most High, the way and the path, right? So let me see. Right. Stop right there. Can you stop right there? All right. So when we see covenantal and rooted in divine order, paleo root, drawer, D-R-O-R, means release and liberty, right? So we're trying to go to the Paleo Hebrew word for freedom, which is release, right? Which we read here on Jubilees. We read in Jubilees chapter 50, verses 1 through 5, the Most High spoke of the release, right? Of the release of time. So Dalit, Resh, Wa, and Wa and Resh. So Resh, Wa, Resh, right? Dalit, Wa, Resh, Wa, Resh, right? And what is the symbolic meaning? The Dalit is a door, the Resh is the head of man, and the Wa is a hook. So in the prophetic sense, the door is access, transition, and movement. The head, authority, leadership, beginning. That's why Europeans changed Resh, R-E-S-H, to Rex, R-E-X, for their king. Taken from our Paleo Hebrew words. People, we have to stop believing them when they tell us that they have no connection. They're not taking anything from us, that they are all brand new in what they do. And it says, door in Paleo. Door is secured authority. It's not just release, it's entry into a sacred, secure domain under righteous leadership. That's Jubilee freedom. That's Torah liberty. As I read to you, the Jubilees, chapter 50, and the timing that the Most High has had for us before there was any of these man-made calendars. Right? Is our blood. Paleo Hebrew view of anarchy. Lawlessness, consumption, Bala, much like Baal, right? Who they believed in. Lawlessness, consumption. House loses sight of authority. Unrestrained speech, Pada. Leadership without vision. Chaotic existence, Tohu. Disconnected from covenant. So chaotic existence means a disconnect from the covenant. Anarchy, absence of righteous rule, distorted perception, and broken boundaries. It's not freedom, it's fragmented. Yeah, my brother Yuan, I went deep today in the studies, brother. I went deep. And I pray everybody, I pray all this is making sense. I pray I'm taking it slow and that you guys are getting it, because we have to understand that we are living in this opposite paradigm. They have given us everything in opposite, but they are pulling from us. It only can be opposite of us as if we're here, if we're the foundation. So anarchy, when they tell us, and all of the youth got these shirts on with the 0 and the A through it / or you see the 0 with the pyramid in it. Yeah, they're talking about breaking the law of the Most High and being anarchy, being absence of righteous rule, distorted perceptions, and broken boundaries. It's not freedom. It's fragmentation. Fragmentation. So anarchy is not the covenant. And what they tell you in America, their concept of freedom, it is actually anarchy. They're giving you the New Testament as a book of how to be an anarchist. To believe in man worship, to believe in idols, and not the Most High in his door, in his way. And so I think that's it. That's there you go. So release, right? So Paleo Hebrew for the kiofesh, right? Exemption and release. So when you see a ladder, that means check, means fence or wall, but the prophetic means protection and boundary. So when people saw this, when they're walking through a cave, they knew that somebody had boundaries and protection. Pay, mouth, speech and declaration. Shin, teeth, which is shem. The shin is also shem, which means teeth, which means consumption, press, transform. Teeth meaning power, right? In paleo, confession paleo means protected speech that transforms. Protected speech that transforms. Whence, fence, wall, mouth, teeth. Protected speech that transforms. Wall and fence is the protection. The mouth is the speech, and the teeth is the consumption, is the transformation. And that's the root word for freedom. So if we were to say we wanted freedom, we would say kofesh. Kafesh. I don't know how to pronounce it, but we're going to say it's kofesh. Paleo Hebrew word kofesh is the freedom that we want. Protected speech that transforms us into the covenant, and not, and it says, as we say here, freedom here is declared release within boundaries, not chaos, but covenantal. Again, freedom here is declared release within the boundaries, not chaos, but covenantal. Yeah. I think that's it. Guys, I think that's it. Yeah. Linguistically. So, don't go down. Boom, come on, stop me right there. So Dissecting anarchy linguistically. English breakdown. And means to be without. Rule, archy means rule, authority. Say when I say democracy, and I say demonocracy, this is what I mean. Akros, akra, rule, authority, and then so anarchy, archy, rule, authority. So anarchy literally means without rule, absence of authority. But in Paleo Hebrew, we don't just define words, we would decode them, baby. I'll just say it again. But in Paleo Hebrew, we don't just define, we decode, baby. Yeah. So Paleo Hebrew dissection of anarchy conceptual roots. Let's break it down to a visual symbol roots that reflect the spiritual conditions of anarchy. Bala, to swallow, consume, destroy. Anarchy is to destroy. We destroy ourselves. And I said, bet, yayin, I'm going to say para, to lose, understand, resh, ayin, speech, head, authority, eye, protection, imperial speech and leadership without vision. So that's speech and leadership without vision, as opposed to kofesh, which is our freedom, is to have leadership protected. You know what I'm saying? Leadership, yeah, protected leadership. With words that transform. Chaos is tahu. Chaos, formlessness. In Paleo Hebrew letters is tav, chet, and wa, which means mark, covenant, fence, and boundary. Chaos, the end. So we know the tav is the last one, and also known as the mark, as a covenant. Chet is fence and boundary, nail, connection, chaos. Hold up. Tao's Paleo disconnected from covenant boundaries. So Tohu in Paleo is disconnected from the covenant boundaries. So they're saying between the covenant and the connection is a boundary. Between the covenant and you and the connection, there's a boundary. So it says disconnected from the covenant boundaries. That's chaos. Summary and Paleo Hebrew view of anarchy, right? Lawlessness, consumption, bala. House loses sight of authority. Unrestrained speech is para. Leadership without vision, unrestrained speech. Oh, don't go that far, boy, I tell you. There we go. Unrestrained speech. Chaotic existence. Told, disconnected from covenant, right? So anarchy, absence of righteous rule, distorted perception, distorted preception. That means your view of reality is distorted, and broken boundaries is not freedom, fragmentation. All right. So let me stop sharing. All right. So I hope, sharing the screen and you guys seeing it, and me giving you the words here from chapter Jubilees to Genesis to Leviticus, the understanding that the law of the Most High is truly where we have our freedom, and this world has given us this distorted, opposite way of how we're supposed to be with the Most High, and that His law is not freedom, it's grievous. Because they tell you so much time, who can follow the 10 Commandments? Nobody can do that. That's just too hard. No. You're just that lawlessness. You're just that weak. We as a nation, as people, are just that chaotically lost to where we can see the events of the last few days and they can paint pictures of the innocent woman and this devil standing over her trying to stab her in reference to the last tweet that this guy had done, but he was killed for nothing to do with that instance. And he was talking evil about so many people, including people of melanation, that it's amazing that those people then play victim and want to attack people of melanation. But when you understand chaos, when you're reading the scripture, when you understand that they've lied to you about what freedom and liberty is, when you now look at their Confederate flags and their red, white, and blue shirts, when they say they want liberty, what they're saying, they want to be away from the Most High's law, that they do not want to have anything to do with his covenant. Understand that that's what that's saying. Whether they know it or not, whether they are asleep, whether they are caught up, just as you were following things of this world before you knew it. You've just been here. You know it now. You've seen it. You know the symbols from the beginning of time. Linguistically, we broke it down to you getting it now, that understanding that liberty in this place is about our oppression, and it's about being away from the Most High's law. It is chaos. It is a boundary between them and the covenant. That's their concept of liberty and freedom. And because they are away from the Most High, they are there to oppress the children of the Most High. You don't see that? They're against the Most High. So who are you going to enslave to build your nations? His children. You're against that law, against that concept. And anytime them children rise up to say they're the children of the Most High, you stand them down and say, no way you are. So much so that they created the star, well, they didn't create the star of Moloch, which our people followed and erroneously followed as a god that said, give us your children. They gave that to another people and said that that's them, that they're us. As it says in their revelations that you synagogue of Satan, but you are not the children. And they use their symbols to show who they are. Let's go to Exodus. Exodus 21, verse 2 and 6. Exodus 21, verses 2 to 6. When you acquire a Hebrew slave, you shall have he shall serve 6 years. In the 7th year, he shall go free. Why? Because the Most High has ordained that through the Sabbath, the 7th year, within his Jubilees. You shall leave, it says, if he came single, he shall leave single. If he had a wife, his wife shall leave with him, because everything he had that the Most High had given him before he goes into slavery, he's going to continue to have after slavery. That's what the Most High is saying here. That what he had prior to coming to your slavery, you can't claim. And it says, would that be a wife, children? And he says, if the master gave him a wife and she has borne him children, the wife and her children shall belong to the master, and he shall leave alone. But if the slave declares, I love my master and my wife and children, I do not wish to go free, his master shall take him before the Most High. He shall be brought to the door, the dalit, or the doorsteps, and his master shall pierce his ear with an awl, AWL, and he shall then remain his slave for life. So just like you have to go before the Most High and proclaim your wife for life, if you decide to be a slave because you love your wife, then you must proclaim your life to this slave master before the Most High. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if y'all paying attention to the real that's going on here. I don't know if you got the understanding what is being laid out here. I don't know if you are understanding your present conditions and you can put 2 + 2 together. But this is deep as it gets. When you subject yourself to another man to be his slave under the Most High, you can only be done for 6 years. In the 7th year, you go free under the Most High's eyes. But only you can make yourself a perpetual slave. I pray y'all hearing what I'm saying, what I'm reading. Only you can make yourself a perpetual slave. Because you love the things that the master has. Take out the wife and the kid part. How about your job? How about your car? How about your loving to go to his clubs, loving his lifestyle? You are going to continue to be a slave as long as you are in love with what the master is providing. Freedom ain't free. You got to be willing to sacrifice what the master has to offer to find your joy in what the Most High gives you through his covenant. You remain his slave for life, but you got to stand before the Most High and utter it your own words and say, Most High, I'm going to be his slave because I love my wife and because I love my kid. And the slave master, even if he orchestrated this and made sure he gave him the best wife that he wanted, beat her to make her act right for him, think he got a good wife, or maybe he picked the right one with the best continence and loved that man, and now he maybe, but it's still all at the orchestration of the slave master who's going to benefit from it. If that's a life you want, because you can still have that on your own, because the Most High says, I can give you a wife. As a matter of fact, if you go into slavery before and you got a wife, can't nobody touch that. So are you a simp, as they would say in modern times, when you can't get your own wife? Are you a simp that you can't get your own life, that you got to have the master's life? You can't be disciplined to follow the law to get what the Most High has for you. Freedom ain't free. Anarchy ain't the covenant. Let's go to Psalms 19. We got just 2 left. I got 2 songs to read to you guys, and I've given you enough heat, enough to study, enough to go back and look at the Paleo Hebrew words to understand confession, the true freedom. Almost sounds like confess, huh? Confess. Almost sounds like the word confess. But that's the Paleo Hebrew word for freedom. Freedom through the law. Freedom through the covenant of the Most High. Yeah. Psalms 19. Psalms 19. Verse 7 through 15. Psalms 19, verse 7 through 15. His rising place is at one end of heaven. Circuit reaches the other. Nothing escapes his heat. Now, that's why we stand on Shabbat to the east. As I told you, the windows of Shemayim is open. That's where the sun goes out. And here, this is talking about is like a hero eager to run his course. His rising place is at one end of heaven, the sun. And when that window's open, that's what we sending our prayers to. And it says, verse 8, the teachings of the Most High is perfect, renewing life. The decrees of the Most High are enduring, making the simple wise. The precepts of the Most High are just, rejoicing the heart. The instructions of Shaddai is lucid, making your eyes light up. The fear of Shaddai is pure, abiding forever. The judgment of Shaddai are true, righteous altogether, more desirable than gold, than much fine gold, sweeter than honey, the dripplings off the comb. Your servant, that's who we allow to be our master by following the law of the Most High, his rule. Your servant pays them heed, in obeying them there is much reward. In obeying the Most High's laws, there are much reward. Who can be aware of errors? Clear me of unperceived guilt, and let inform willful sin keep your servant, and from willful sins keep your servant. So my man prays the prayer that I love praying, the things that I don't even know, things that I may not even see. Most High, forgive me for things that I have done against you that I don't even know I did. That's what it says here in verse 13 of Psalms 19. Who can be aware of errors? How do I know how many things I've done you wrong, Most High? Clear me of unperceived guilt, meaning that I don't even perceive the guilt. I don't know that I'm guilty. And from willful sins, from the sins that I chose to do. The ones I say are, Most High, I pray that you can forgive me for that. I'm about to walk and do something I know I ain't got no business doing. Willful. It says, and from willful sins, keep your servant. So he's still praying, even though I'm about to walk in. Can you do something to stop me from walking in? Let them not dominate me. Where that word dom comes in. Kingdom, freedom, dominate. It says, don't let them dominate me, meaning don't let them reside in my kingdom. Don't let me be dominated. Don't let my freedom be the dominance of them. My freedom is not their dominance. My freedom is my dominance through the Most High's covenant. Don't let them not dominate me. Then shall I be blameless and clear of grave offense. May the words of my mouth and the prayer of my heart be acceptable to you, O Shaddai, my rock and my redeemer. Oh, that's powerful. Understand the reward through the freedom of the Most High's law and not the freedom of this world's anarchy. I do not want to be free of the covenant. No. Take whatever punishment, whatever chastisement that comes with it, because the reward is 20 million times better. Let's go to our last one for the night, Psalms 112. And we're reading the whole psalm. It's only 10 verses. We're going to 112. This has been a great Sabbath. Cheers unto you, as the Most High says, we be in joy in his Sabbath. And it says, hallelujah. And so, hallelujah, right? So, hallelujah, not ha, hallelujah, right? Because everything's with an A, the aleph, the head. We just went through Paleo Hebrew. We can understand this, right? We can continue this in our everyday talk, right? The aleph is the head, right? In the beginning of our aleph bet, not the alphabet, but our aleph bet. The aleph is the letters, and bet is the house. So the house of letters that comes from the Most High's language that he gave us. And they had the Tower of Babel, and he separated everybody else's language. We kept ours. Right? So it says, Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm not going to say Yah because it's not Yah. It's Shaddai. Hallelujah. Happy is the man who fears Shaddai, who is ardently devoted to his commandments. I'll drink to that. Happy is the man who fears Shaddai, who is ardently devoted to his commandments. His descendants will be mighty in the land. His descendants will be mighty in the land. And Baraka, generations of upright men, blessed generations, Baraka, wealth and riches are in his house, and his beneficiaries last forever. A light shines for the upright in the darkness. That's why I'm praying this. I am praying this prayer of Psalms 112 for all of my ox and the coatees that are like the poem Invictus, that are bloody but unbowed, that are going through this harsh, iniquitous world. This is a prayer for all of us, for our leveling up on this Shabbat. It says, a light shines for the upright in the darkness. He is gracious, compassionate, and benevolent. All goes well with the man who lends generously, who conducts his affairs with equity. And generously means to other people that's following the Most High. He shall never be shaken. The beneficiaries, the benefits man will be remembered forever. The beneficiary man will be remembered forever. He is not afraid of evil tidings. His heart is firm. He trusts in Shaddai. His heart is resolute. He is unafraid. In the end, he will see the fall of his foes. In the end, he will see the fall of his foes. He grieves freely to the poor. He gives freely to the poor. His beneficiaries last forever. His horn is exalted in honor. The wicked man shall see it and be vexed. He shall garnish his teeth. His courage shall fail. The desire of the wicked shall come to nothing. I pray that for all of Yasharallah, for the evil that comes to us, the ones that are jealous, the ones that are conniving and plotting on our demise, that their plans come to nothing or consumes them. We understand through studying to show thyself approved that his language is beautiful. His language gives us so much depth and understanding. And when we take these words that they have transliterated and we transliterate them back to get more meaning and depth, it only levels us up. It only gives us a better understanding. Kofash, not confession, but kofash is what Yasharallah is screaming for. Freedom inside the law of the Most High. What did the northern tribes say? They left their captivity in Assyria to go so that they could praise the Most High the right way, since they had not done it properly all their time. What was the 12 tribes trying to get to Canaan so that after being 40 years in the wilderness could practice loving the Most High and his law to perfection? This is something that we've been trying to do over and over and over again and have been stopped, or we have stopped ourselves. We've not been able to achieve this in the manner that it should be. Trying your own home in your own way. Trying your own life in your own way. Know that the covenant is still here and that you can, and that the Most High will make a way for you to continue to follow the covenant, to follow his law. You have to ask him. You have to confide in him. He loves you. Love him. There was something I saw earlier today, this podcast, and this woman that tried to take the Bible back to Proto-Indo-European and Sanskrit. She thought that was the languages. I'm like, I don't know how she thought that when she's reading the Bible. But, however, she was talking about the Michelangelo painting, where you have God, the Most High's finger stretched out hard, and you have a human hand limp. Limp. We have to make that connection by following his law. being a part of his covenant, and stretch out our finger unto him as he has stretched out unto us. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. All praise unto the Most High. We'll see you guys on Monday, if the Most High says so, for what is a Hebrew Shemite Ivrit. All praises. Me Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.